And that's very true. I mean, one realises the more one goes into this, the power of the mind is so immense. It's also necessary for us not to try to misuse it. 1880, yeah, but there are some who have been in it a lot longer. One of the earliest ones, I don't tell this very readily, because as I say, I don't want to go too far across the boggle threshold with people, but one of the earliest cases, I was dressed, I suppose like I am now. I may not have had a jacket on, and I suddenly felt the presence of someone very, very disturbed, and I put my hands on my knees, something like this, and I said to my companions, what culture sits like this? And immediately I got the answer, Egyptian. They didn't get a chance to answer me. The man was with me. I tore my tie off. I just pulled it like that. As he said, only slaves and the condemned wear ropes around their neck. That was his introductory remark. Where are my slaves? Where are my attendants? And he was so haughty. Two companions said to him, they were trying to get him round to an understanding of a little humility, but he wasn't having any of that. And the most he would concede at the end of our preliminary talk was, I do feel different, I must confess. And the next time we came across him, he was climbing a rope ladder against, I could see this, there was a high, dank, black cliff, like granite. It was shining with moisture, and hanging down was a ladder, a rope ladder, and he was clinging to this rope ladder. And he said, I need your help. If I gaze down, I am afraid of falling into the abyss, and if I gaze upwards, the light blinds me. But I have to climb this ladder. This was his allegorical journey out of the state that we'd found him in. We'd helped to release him, but he'd got to do this bit himself. And it was some weeks later that we found him, he'd climbed the ladder. He's been back a few times, very helpful. He explained very carefully to us once the difference between time here and time where he is. But that he was about 3,000 years. Where was I? Oh, in my home. He was brought to. See, at that level, something we haven't mentioned is that communication is telepathic. It very quickly becomes telepathic when one gets into the next life. One of the great things about telepathic communication is it works independently of language, because somewhere within the unconscious, the translation is done. The thought comes in as a pure thought and is automatically revealed in our language. You don't realize this is the case. They've told me I'm the anchor man. Anchorman. The reason why it's necessary to have someone performing this function is that when going through the catharsis, a great deal of emotional energy is released. There's a great burst of emotional energy, and this would cause the entity concerned, the person concerned, to rebound, and might be quite difficult to find again, like the recoil from a gun, if you like, and that is one reason. Being in this dense earth, in this material world, one can hold on much more easily to someone and dampen down that impact. Do you follow? The other reason is the entities, the team, while they're able to guide the person into my field, if you like, they themselves can't easily go through this catharsis process because of these problems. They can't easily penetrate the darkness. Because as you come nearer to the earth, if you're a spirit of any development, as you come near to the earth, you're entering into a dark region. And to them, I mean, putting it crudely, they don't want to be fumbling around in the dark. So they find it much easier to steer the person in some way into my orbit or somebody else's orbit and let the process carry on from there. Well, there are other people doing this work, mostly in groups. Yeah, I can see some similarities. I mean, the Tibetan ritual for the dead is to make sure they don't get stuck. But of course it's tailored to, again, to that culture. I released a Japanese airman who died in the Second World War on one occasion, or at least I was in the process. And I won't tell you the full story, but when I got to the point of having gone through his death with him, and then wondering how on earth I was going to help to release him, because I could feel the culture gap. I spent about 9 months in Japan some years ago, and I think that was the link that brought him to me, but that was as much as could be done. I mean, I know very little else about the Japanese culture, and I was wondering what would happen. And he was saying, I have dishonoured myself. I'm not fit to meet my ancestors. And he was firmly of that belief, and that's what trapped him.